What's the matter, freak? Can't take a little joke?
You're pathetic.
Oh, that's rich, coming from someone who runs around in the dark, wearing a cape and a mask.
Both wear masks.
Look at my face. This is who I am. My mask is permanent. You have a choice.
You made your choice a long time ago, Joker.
No! You did this to me, and you condemned me to that asylum like some bastard child that you refuse to take responsibility for. That's why you'll never kill me, Bats. You made me, Daddy.
And criminal scum like you made me. You're going back to Arkham.
Atomic batteries to power. Turbines to speed.
You're ready to move up.
Christopher.
Hello, sir. How are you?
How's it going, man? I'm good. How you doing?
Very well, sir. It's is it Collora?
Yes, Collora.
Okay, that's correct. Okay, I didn't butcher the name. Excellent.
No, it's good. That's good. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
I'll put you in the top 10 percentile of all the people that Collora, Corolla. Not that hard, guys.
So you're just you're working on post-production of your film right now, right?
Correct. We are editing and working on the visual effects for Hunter Prey, which is the first feature film.
Very cool.
So very exciting.
And you had to go out and hunt down the financing yourself.
Yeah, that's unfortunately what it came down to. Yeah. After the Batman thing, that opened up a lot of doors. I'm sure, as you know, I was already in the industry when I made that.
Yeah, I've been to your Wikipedia and your IMDb page and all that fun stuff.
Yeah. So, but that opened up a lot of doors as far as getting attention as a director, and I guess over the past the 4-year odyssey after I made that movie to try and get a feature off the ground, ran into just a lot of dead ends. Yeah. No pun intended.
Yeah.
Projects that started and just never quite got off the ground. Scripts that I was given that went into development and then never got made. And then there were some scripts of my own, ideas that I had written, and some with my writing partner Nick Alvarez that, again, came close to getting bought by a studio. But it was always like, well, he's made a bunch of shorts and he's made a bunch of commercials and music videos, but, can he carry a whole movie and this and this? So, the time was right, for me to just say, fuck it. I've got to go make a movie no matter how low the budget. I have to use all my skills and all the things that, that I've been fortunate enough to learn from some of the, incredibly talented people, that I've worked with over the years, Jim Cameron and Steven Spielberg and Rob Bottin, Rick Baker, Henry Alvarez, those guys.
Yeah, the little guys.
Yeah. So, like I said, early in my career, I was very fortunate to have worked with them in different capacities as a creature designer and an art director, and designing logos and whatever I was doing at the time, I just decided that it was time, and I sold off my some of my memorabilia collection and got some money from here, some money from there. The other producers put in some cash, and we raised some money and we went and made this movie in Mexico, man. We were there for a month, and I got back.
How the hell do you do that? I mean, how do you decide just to go to Mexico? What's the logistics of doing that?
Interesting story behind that. I'm sure if you read my Wikipedia page and been to my website, you can see I'm an avid fisherman and a diver. And
right. I've seen your pictures, yeah.
Yeah. So
big fish.
I was spearfishing in the Sea of Cortez with some friends of mine, and got introduced to this area about 50 miles north of the Bahia de Los Angeles, which is Gonzaga Bay, Portecitos area.
Okay.
And there were just these gigantic whale skeletons jutting out of the sand, and
sweet.
incredible rock formations that I'd never seen before, and just, you know, the wheels started turning about like, wow, you know, come shoot a movie here. You know, it's cheap. It's you know, I know people that own homes. You know, again, I was fortunate to, you know, to know some people that own some property and some homes and stuff down there. So, you know, the crew had a place to stay, and you know, it was all part of the big picture. You know, about, you know, just how we could do it for the budget, because if we had to shoot it in the States, I don't think we could have afforded.
Gas alone would have sunk you.
You know, to do the project. Right. But, you know, like I said, I got some great producers and some very talented people behind me. So, you know, we all kind of, you know, pulled together, and, you know, everybody brought what they could. You know, we got a camera from one guy and some lenses from another guy. And, you know, my buddy did the costumes, and another buddy did the makeup, and, you know, I designed everything, and, you know, Nick and I wrote the script and did sketches, and, you know, and it just came together actually very quickly. I mean, we started writing the script, you know, less than a year ago. I mean, it was September of last year. Uh-huh. So, and right now the script, you know, it's finished shooting. Right now it's today, the 5th. I mean, we're days away from having the first rough assembly of the movie cut together.
Oh, wow. That's quick. You just finished in the beginning of June, right?
Yes. We came back. We were gone for all of July. We got back like the first week of No.
All of May.
That's right. We shot the last week of May, all of June, and then came back like at the end of June. Yeah.
End of July.
Mm-hmm.
I'll help you. Whatever damn month it is.
You know, it's all a blur at this
right.
point.
No, understandable.
But, we were there for about a month, and then came back, and got the editor all the footage, and his name is Toby Devine. He's doing a fantastic job, and everything's looking good. I'm very happy with everything so far.
That's cool. It's just basically you get your friends together, the people that you know, and just go out and do your thing.
Yeah, and again, I'm very lucky and very fortunate that my friends are all people that work in the industry and have impressive credits and have worked on a lot of different shows and a lot of different capacities. And so, you know, when I get my friends together, you know, you get like a Batman Dead End or a World's Finest, or, you know, it's something that we're all proud of, that got a lot of time and a lot of love and a lot of, you know, energy. You know, these are all labors of love, Chris. You know, this is not something that I do for money. It's not something that I do for my own ego. It's something I do because I love to do it, and I have to do it. It's part of me. It's part of who I am. I mean, I have to express myself as an artist and as a filmmaker, and this is, you know, how we do it.
That's to tell the fan filmmakers that I've talked to. I mean, that seems to be the consensus as far as none of them are making any money, or little money, and they all have day jobs, most of them, and it's a labor of love.
Because you know, most of the stuff that you know comes out of the fan film genre, if you want to call it that, is stuff, you know, it's licensed properties. It's Star Wars, it's Batman, it's Superman, it's Star Trek. I mean, it's stuff that we can't make money on.
Right.
So, I mean, that should tell people right there. It's like, these are, you know, regardless of the quality, if you will, of, you know, the entire gamut of these films that are made. Obviously, some of them are very rudimentary, and some of them are a little more advanced, but they're all made for the same reason, because those people making these films love the characters. They have a true love of the universe that they're working in, and they want to tell their own stories with those characters. And I think, you know, it's just kind of a brilliant thing, if you ask me. I mean, I'd never even heard the word fan film until Batman Dead End was done and finished, and people started calling it a fan film, and I was like, wait a minute, what
the hell is that?
I just call it a short, you know.
Right.
And, you know, you kind of get exposed to the world of like this whole underground of, especially like, you know, these Star Wars guys and stuff that are doing all this great stuff, and it's just kind of like, wow. And you know, previous to, you know, now obviously being, you know, very connected to the fan film world and seeing, you know, quite a bit of it, I think the only thing that I had seen previous to making Dead End was, of course, I saw Hardware Wars, you know, in the 70s.
Right.
When I was a kid.
Right.
And then I saw Troops, which I thought was hilarious.
Yeah.
I was just like, wow, here's a guy with a completely different take on the Star Wars universe, and I was laughing the whole time, and it was well done, and it's like, wow, this is cool, and kind of start getting, my mind thinking about like, wow, maybe I should do something like this,
right?
So, it's like, one always inspires the other. I've had, a lot of these, especially the younger guys, come up to me at conventions and stuff, and, at signings or whatever, and just say that, I made my short because I saw yours, and it's just cool. It's just kind of it's like a full circle kind of thing. You get inspired by something and you do it, and then others get inspired by that, and, hopefully they go out and do their thing, and, it's the same thing I'm doing with my feature. I mean, I hope it inspires more guys, to go out and just, make, instead of doing it short form, just go out and make a fucking feature.
Right.
Go out and just, instead of shooting an 8-minute or 10-minute or 20 minutes, shoot another hour. Make it, make it a feature film. Make it an original idea. Which is what I did. Like I said, as much as I love Batman and the whole DC universe, the Marvel universe, Star Wars, that's all stuff I grew up with. It's like, that's somebody else's playground. That's something that somebody else created, and I have a lot of respect for it. And you certainly, if it was all legal and above board, I would love to, be able to make something like, Batman Begins or Dark Knight, or work on a Superman movie, or work on something from the Star Wars universe for real. But I felt that, for the first feature, I had to do something original, and Nick Alvarez and I came up with this idea, and it just kind of grew from this original kernel of this story that he came up with about these military commandos that get stranded on this planet, and all kinds of chaos ensues. It's pretty interesting.
Well, that sounds cool.
Yeah, so that's about really all I want to say.
That's all you can say, yeah.
Well, yeah, it's not really so much it's more like want. It's like, right. I don't want to spoil it for anybody. I want people to come into it without any expectations. Other than I'm seeing a Sandy Collora movie. If they liked my movies, say, wow, I'm interested to see this. Kind of a thing. So, it's a sci-fi movie. There's plenty of interesting sci-fi costumes and spaceships and creatures and cool locations and all kinds of stuff. Obviously it's not a Dark Knight or a Transformers or
right.
a Mummy or anything like that. It's a very, very low budget movie, but the story's really solid, and Nick did a great job on the script, and I'm very excited about the whole thing.
Now, are you going to be distributed in this? Is this going to be released? Is it going to be to DVD? Will it be like released to theaters, DVD, etc.?
It'll definitely get released on DVD, but my hope for it is to get a theatrical release. I screened the first 20 minutes for the executive producers about a week ago. Just rough, and they were completely shocked. They were blown away, and Dave said, there's no reason why, if we can get the right people behind this, why we couldn't get a theatrical release. And then the other night I was at the DGA screening of Hellboy 2, and I bumped into Guillermo del Toro, who's a friend of mine.
Oh, jeez.
And, and
mine too. Yeah.
He asked how the shooting went and so forth, and I told him about it. He's very excited. So once I have the assembly done, I'm going to screen it for him and see what he thinks, and see if he's got any interest in helping us get theatrical distribution and so forth. So I'm interested to get his take on it and see what he thinks. It's always good to show your stuff to other filmmakers.
No, absolutely. Your peers.
Absolutely.
You need that peer advice.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially for somebody like Guillermo.
Yeah, right.
He's just such an incredible talent and an incredible guy. To help somebody like me, or at least just offer to help somebody, it's just a great thing. With how busy the guy is, and how much stuff he's got going on, to take the time and genuinely want to help, is very touching to me. He's a big fan of Dead End. He loved World's Finest, and ever since then we've been buds. And he's he's tried to help me, and he's very excited to see what's going on here, and so I'll see what happens.
Okay, great. And on the flip side, thanks for you for taking the time and talking with me this evening, this afternoon.
No, that's what it's all about. I mean, like I said, I really haven't done any interviews, whether it be print or internet or podcast or radio or whatever, about the new movie. So you're basically the first interview that I'm doing that's even just talking about it. Really, I mean, I think there were a few things released here and there that said I was shooting and that I was off, finally doing a feature and so forth. And the feedback that some of those articles got was actually very good. A lot of people were just like, "Oh, it's about time," and really interested to see what he does with it and so forth. So, there's a certain degree of pressure that comes with it because I know what people are expecting, and I just,
You read the message boards.
Yeah, I hope I can deliver it because I want to live up to what people have enjoyed before, and like I said, unfortunately, I don't have anywhere even in the same universe as the budget as some of these movies have that are coming out, but I think it's important to do the best you can with what you have and be able to work creatively within the limitations of the resources that you have. And I think that, quite honestly, is what made Batman Dead End and World's Finest, what they eventually, turned out to be, because there were so many people involved who just loved what we were doing and dedicated so much of their time and their talent to it, and because filmmaking is a very collaborative thing. You have to have one, captain, driving the ship, obviously, but I've been quoted before in articles and stuff as saying, a director is basically just a guy, standing around in the dark with a bunch of ideas, and until he's got a crew and a cast,
right?
People who are willing to get behind him and get behind his vision. To help make it a reality, and that's something that I'm also very fortunate to have, and that I, hopefully, I'll be able to, continue to work with these people and get more work as a director and so forth. So I think, there's a lot riding on this movie, and I just hope that,
Well, I think the less is more sometimes as well. It's fun as far as myself as the viewer to understand what type of budget you do have, and of course understand your background to the movies you made, and then it's fun to see what you can do with a limited budget parallel to what like a big studio is putting out.
Sure, and I'll tell you, thank you for that, by the way. I appreciate that, and
absolutely.
It's good to know that the fan base, pretty much as a whole, I'd like to say, thinks the way you do, to where they are aware of, hey, this is a guy that's never directed a feature before. He made a couple of fan films, and granted he's got some deep roots in the industry and so forth, but you guys are the guys that are going to be looking at it going, wow, look what this guy did with no money on a 3-week shooting schedule with a very small crew. And that's great. Unfortunately, at the box office, most of the people that pay their money to go see a movie have no knowledge of that. So that's where it becomes dangerous, and that's where I get, to be brutally honest with you, I get concerned, even frightened, to a degree, because, the general moviegoer that's going to stand in line and pay the $10 for his ticket doesn't know that I had those limitations with that budget. He's got a choice. He can see Hunter Prey, or he can see Transformers 2.
Right.
And to him, to the general audience moviegoer, they don't know that there's that much of a difference in budget. All they're going to know, all they'll know is they'll go see Transformers 2, and then they'll go see Hunter Prey and be like, wow, that was a movie about a bunch of guys in the desert. Wow, as compared to robots beating the crap out of each other and throwing each other through buildings, and the Air Force and strafing runs and military and cast of thousands, and I didn't have that. So I have to captivate the viewer and keep the viewer interested through that whole 90 to 100 minutes with the story and with the characters, because I didn't have those tools available to me. It's almost like it's almost like a painter. Like if you were doing a painting, it's your palette, say, would be only limited to 5 or 6 colors as opposed to the entire spectrum of colors available to an artist. So what I've got to do is take those 5 or 6 colors and be smart enough and creative enough to not only use those 5 colors to tell the story or make the painting, in essence, I have to be able to mix those colors correctly to be able to show a range of different things. So in other words, I'm not only making the painting with, say, yellow and green, or red and blue. It's like I'm making the painting with purple, and I'm making the painting with spring green, or because I'll put a little yellow into the green, and then you got a lighter green, or maybe put a little blue into the green, and now you're going off into the aquamarine type of color. So I think it's all about what a filmmaker has available to him and how he can use those tools to help tell his story to the audience.
Yeah, that's a good analogy.
If you look at some of the, some of the older films. I mean, I'm a very big fan of not only cinema of the 70s, because that's when I was a kid. That's I grew up with Star Wars and Star Trek.
Right, myself as well.
Yeah, Logan's Run, Battlestar Galactica, all that stuff. I was born, in '68, so I mean, it was a great age to be going through like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13 years old, of having that whole 70s and early 80s kind of Raiders of the Lost Ark, Empire, Star Wars, E.T., John Carpenter's The Thing, Conan. Obviously I'm a huge fan of all that stuff, but I think it's also important to go back and look at the predecessors to those films. 2001, Planet of the Apes, stuff that was made before that. To go back and say, wow, these guys had even less technology or filmmaking knowledge available to them as these guys had in the 70s, but look at some of the stuff that was done.
Right, look at Metropolis. What was that, back in the 20s, 30s?
Perfect example.
Yeah.
So, I was always a big fan of that, 60s and, early 70s, something like Rollerball. That's my favorite Norman.
The first one.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, the second one doesn't kind of even exist. Could you believe that was McTiernan, dude? That's the guy that directed fucking Predator.
Really? No, you know what? I never saw the second Rollerball. The guy
that directed Predator and Die Hard.
Huh.
Directed that movie.
The second one. The remake.
Yeah, the remake of Rollerball was directed by John.
Yeah, see, I'd never seen that one. I saw the James Caan one a long time ago.
Yeah, that's
the classic.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but, it's looking at stuff like that and going, wow, these guys, were making stuff when, sci-fi, that's when sci-fi was in its, in its infancy.
Yeah.
So to speak. It's interesting, because now, being such a, a student of film, I can look at stuff like 2001. I can look at stuff like, Capricorn 1 and stuff like that. It's like, and see the stuff that Lucas was inspired by.
Yeah.
Not only the stuff that he cites as his inspiration, the Kurosawa stuff and all that, but, look at 2001. I mean, there's, a lot of the, design themes in Star Wars were very inspired by 2001 and, stuff like that. And it's again, it's that whole circle, to see where that person was inspired from. And thus, Lucas has now inspired me. The people like James Cameron and so forth, watching, these movies unfold as I was a kid. It was interesting to see, how all that has impacted my work, not only as an artist, but as a filmmaker as well. And, to me, that's the most interesting thing, is just to come up with these ideas and these, these designs and just these situations that, where'd they come from? God, I must have seen something when I was a kid.
Yeah, well, they say there's no original idea. It's just how you build off, the last person's idea is basically what you're saying, but that's true. And you just change it to your own. And
it's funny because a lot of Hunter Prey is in the vein of the original Star Wars. I like the desolate feeling of Tatooine and how the sand troopers and the Jawas and how the robots and stuff, how everything looked in that environment, like how dirty and kind of textural Mos Eisley was, and the Lars Moisture Farm and all the stuff like where the Sand People attack happens, and those canyons and ridges and stuff where R2 gets overtaken, like stuff like that. That was the stuff to me personally that I was lacking in the second set of films. I thought they were way too slick and way too manufactured looking.
No, absolutely.
It didn't have that real, gritty, Phil Tippett, lived-in look to it, and that's something that we strived very hard to achieve in Hunter Prey, and I think the fans are going to react to that because, in that respect, it's very Star Wars. So I think that again, that's what the fans are looking for, and that's what I think.
Yeah, well, again, less is more as far as Lucas is concerned. In '77, when that was released, I mean, he didn't have a lot of resources, and he made a fantastic film. And then, zoom to 1999, he had all the resources in the world and all the money in the world, and I mean, he made a pretty picture, but it just seemed like he wanted to film his actors and get into post-production, real quick.
Yeah,
and make all the pretty pictures.
It's funny because I did an interview a few years ago in Wired magazine where I think they had just interviewed Lucas before they did the small little piece on me, and they said, what's your opinion about that? You're obviously a very outspoken Star Wars fan, and this and this, and I just thought, and they asked the question, and there was a really long pause, and I just said, the only comment that I can really make, about the new Star Wars films, to sum it all up, is that I think that George Lucas has become, as talented as he is and as brilliant as the man is, I think he's become more enamored with the technology rather than the films themselves.
Exactly.
And I think the films have lost his personal touch and the humanity and the realism of what made those films what they are. And I think because so much of it is computer generated, and so, I mean, the last one, I mean, that was like watching an animated movie.
Yeah, right.
I mean, it was like watching a Pixar movie. There's so much of it is, which again, I don't mind, but do it, let it serve the story. In this case, it seems like the story is serving what he can do on the computer.
Right.
And...
Well, that's what all great filmmakers say, such as yourself, because you're saying it. But yeah, that's, any interview you see of a great filmmaker, they'll say, let the character serve the story, and then just the special effects and the pretty stuff is the backdrop.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I don't have much of a choice, so I'm going to fall back on that. And just say, but yeah, I mean, no, but there's certain stuff in this film that, there's special effects involved. There's a couple of CG moments and things where CG was used to enhance things and so forth. But all of the effects were shot practical. Certainly all the characters are practical. There's nothing. There's no CG characters in the film. There's not even any CG augmentation to any of the characters. They're straight prosthetic makeups, just like in the first Star Wars film, and
Great.
Planet of the Apes, and stuff like that. So it's kind of a throwback to the old school mentality. Like I said to you before, again, I'm very honest, and I wear my heart on my sleeve, and I say what I'm feeling, and I'm just concerned that audiences today, especially the younger audience, the Halo crowd, and these type of people are just going to be receptive to the film, because I think, in some respects, people of that demographic, so to speak, and I really hate using those words because I sound like a fucking suit, but people, that slice of the pie, that piece of the demographic, I think would look at this movie and call it slow. There's nothing blowing up, there's no truck chase, there's nothing turning into something, there's no giant robots, but it's people like yourself, like your age range with your sensibilities and that I think are really going to relate to this film.
Okay, very cool.
I don't want to give too much of it away, but there's a lot of twists and turns and surprises and that kind of thing. So I'm trying to keep it as much under wraps as I can.
Now, when do you think you'll be done as far as editing and getting it out to the masses, or this takes a long time, depending? I guess.
I have to be honest. The post-production at this point. It's going faster than I'd anticipated. Originally we were looking at like a Christmas release,
wow.
Some kind of early winter, late fall. So, I'm hoping that around that time, it'll be, pretty much together. And there's been a lot of speculation about, are they going to release a trailer? Are they going to release images? I don't really know what we're going to do yet as far as it's starting to lay the groundwork to get some momentum built up, some buzz. I mean, because like you said, I fortunately, I do have my audience. I mean, to be blatantly honest, whether people liked Dead End or hated it, they're all waiting to see what I do next.
They want to hate it.
To either, throw eggs at me
right.
or raise my hand and say, look, you did it. So, but that's a good thing. I think that's a good position to be in because either way, people will come to see the movie. So, and believe me, I mean, I can tell you right now, the movie's not going to be for everyone. I'm sure everyone isn't going to like it, but if people give it a chance and just watch it for what it is, and
absolutely, that's true for
just kind of see what happens.
It's true for anything.
This is always a very exciting time for the filmmaker because obviously you've been working on the project for so long. You've wrote it, you've prepped it, you've shot it, you're posting it. I mean, you're so close to the material that it's impossible to be objective anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So you're almost, in a way, fiending for somebody that doesn't know anything about the movie, that wasn't around during the shoot, or hasn't read the script, to sit down and watch the movie. Which is why I wouldn't tell anything to Guillermo the other night about it. It was like, I just didn't want to tell him. I was like, dude, I'll just show you. I'll show you.
Right.
So he says, no, you come up to the house and, show me the rough cut. I don't care how rough. I got to see what you did. So he's very excited, which is great because that kind of enthusiasm is what keeps me going because, like I said, I mean, you get, even with Dead End, I mean, you're so close to it. You can look at it and go, wow, that's something, like that's pretty, it's pretty good.
Sure.
To yourself or whatever. But then, when you're standing at the Masquerade at Comic-Con in front of 5,000 people, and they're standing they give you a standing ovation, and they're standing on their chairs, throwing stuff, going nuts, that's a little bit different. That's like, wow, okay, I guess they liked it.
Yeah.
So, I can only, hope and pray that the reaction is even, a fraction of what it was to Dead End. So, it's I think it's safe to say that people that like Star Wars will like it. People that like Halo will like it. People, it's got that Star Warsy kind of feel to it. It takes the environment is very deserty. Very Tatooine-esque or very like Planet of the Apes-esque. So it's got a little bit of Dune in there. So I mean it'll like I said, I pulled from all of the childhood references that I was inspired by, and just put Nick and I just kind of put our own twist on it. And when I went and shot it, it definitely has a signature, all of its own. The film definitely has a look and a style that is very me, that I'm very proud of. And aside from that, I mean, it's going to be up to the people that are going to see the movie to judge whether it's their cup of tea or not.
Yeah, I sincerely I look forward to it, and just not blowing smoke up your ass because I'm talking to you. No, I can't wait to see it.
Okay,
I think it's going to be a good. It's going to be a good one, as Arnold would say.
It's going to be a good one. Yeah. So now where does this podcast get broadcasted from? Can I point people to this?
Sure, absolutely. It's pretty simple. It's www.fanfilmpodcast.com.
Oh, okay, cool.
And it's as simple as that. We just it was the guy's name's Fanboy Will, and he wasn't here this evening with us, unfortunately, because he really wanted to talk with you. And we've both been covering fan films about 6 years. He might be a little longer on it. And we're just casual viewers, and we started writing articles online about it. And then I hooked up with like a comic book website, Comic Book Bin, so I started putting news on their site. And then finally just decided, it would be awesome to talk to these people, but what can I use as an excuse to talk to these people? And, bingo, podcast.
Oh, my gosh.
So it's kind of a selfish kind of thing going on there, but yet...
so what did you guys think of Dead End and World's Finest?
Dead End was awesome. That was probably... World's Finest was awesome, too, but Dead End was right as the conception of the Internet was coming about, as far as it being, what's the word I'm looking for?
A place to launch stuff like that.
Well, more interactive, I guess, is the word that I'm trying to think of. And you came about during its infancy, and I can understand why you didn't understand what a fan film was or didn't know the terminology. You were just out there to make a Batman fan film, because it really, the words fan film together weren't out there at the time. And you pretty much brought that about with the help of others like Troops and so on.
Sure.
I mean, isn't it even the Comic-Con is this week, actually. It's happening right now.
Yes,
Wasn't Dead End one of the reasons why, and this was one of my questions.
They got banned. Absolutely.
Exactly, yeah, that's what I thought.
No, Warner Brothers did not like that.
No.
So,
it was good.
So as a matter of fact, 3 years ago was the year that World's Finest, they called me up and they said, I heard from the program director at the Comic-Con, said, I got some bad news. And I said, what's that? He says, we can't show your movie. I said, why is that? And he says, well, this is off the record. I'm not supposed to tell you this, but since you're such a, you're the prodigal son of Comic-Con, they said, Warner Brothers just does not want any kind of, anything to, compete or try and with or undermine what they're doing. So, in other words, if they want to control everything that's about Batman or Superman at the convention and all that. And at that time, I was unaware that all of them got squashed.
Yeah.
Because I had heard of some other films that were going to get shown that year. Because, they were going to do, basically with World's Finest, the same thing they did for The Masquerade, for Dead End, which was open The Masquerade with it. And, I was set to do, to introduce it and everything, and it was a big bummer, because, the fans were looking forward to seeing it, and, and I think that in some degree, I think that's caused like a big backlash, from what I've heard. I'm not really.
I think that's a safe bet.
Yeah, connected to that part of it anymore, but, there were a lot of people that were very upset because of like films like Dead End and Grayson and all that. I mean, they got very popular, and there were some people. Now, again, mind you, I'm quoting. I'm not saying this is what I think.
Absolutely.
But there were some people that said that they would rather watch the fan films than the real movies.
I think that
they were more accurate to the comics, that there was more love in them, that the people that were making them had a much more diverse understanding of what the characters and the universe was, so they can more accurately depict the character.
That's it right there.
So to me, it was just like, wow, that was kind of a wake up call as to like, wow, look at the impact these films are having on society. You know, when you got articles in like Vanity Fair and you know, I mean, Wired magazine. I was on Howard Stern. I mean,
oh really? Oh Jesus!
Yeah. You know, Howard's a big comic book guy.
Did you call in or did you go into the studio?
No, they called me.
Oh really?
Yeah. So it was pretty interesting. But yeah. So this again, like I said, I'm being very sincere when I say I can only hope that the reaction to this film is similar to what I've been fortunate enough to have with the fan films. Yeah. And hopefully the whatever studio or production entity or whatever we decide to or decides to release the film understands that, and lets that be a part of the marketing. Like, hey, this is the guy that made that Batman versus Predator movie, because I think that's part of what's going to draw people to see the movie. And I don't mean that, in an egotistical sort of way at all. It's just a fact. I mean, I just think that if people find out, again, like I told you before, whether they think Batman Dead End sucks or they think I suck or whether they think the film was good or whatever, they're going to be like, the reaction is going to be either one of two things, like, oh, wow, that movie was great. The guy made a feature. I can't wait. Or it's going to be, oh, that thing sucked. They had Batman run around in tights. Let me see this guy fall on his face. Let's see what, what his real movie is. But that's still $10. That's an ass in the seat. That's a butt in the bucket right there.
Exactly.
Which is what I need to propel my career to do another movie. Because, at this point, I think it's pretty safe to say that I've kind of burned all the favors that I, between, Dead End World's Finest and this. To be quite frank, I don't shoot enough commercials or music videos to be able to say to my crew, well, hey, I'm putting thousands of dollars in your pocket every year because I'm shooting a ton of stuff. It's not really that way.
Right.
There are the paying jobs that come in between making this stuff. And I'm thankful for that, and it's a living that I'm fortunate to have. But it's not like I've shot as much stuff as say like somebody like a Zack Snyder or like a Marcus Nispel or any of these talented guys that have shot hundreds and hundreds of commercials and music videos. My reel just isn't that deep. So, with me, it's been more of like, kind of like the Jim Cameron approach. I'd rather do less of it and have it be to the quality or the satisfaction that I would like to see than just shotgun it and just do a bunch of stuff and have some of it be crap.
Right.
Just for the sake of doing it. You know what I mean?
Less is
like
more.
Jim Cameron's only made a half a dozen movies, but 3 of those are on the top 10 grossing movies of all time.
And wait till Aviator comes out. That's going to be...
Avatar. Yeah, that's going to be...
Oh, Avatar. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Aviator. You got Collora right, but you didn't get Avatar. So, no, that's fine.
Well, when I interview James Cameron, I'll make sure I get that right.
I'm hoping that I can get the film in front of Jim, too, and just, to see what he thinks. I actually just saw Jim at unfortunately at Stan Winston's memorial service. I hadn't seen him in quite a while.
Yeah, you worked for
I worked for Stan on Leviathan.
Leviathan.
Yeah,
that was
Alien Nation, Predator 2.
Oh, the TV show or the movie?
The movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And at that time, that film was called Outer Heat. That was the
really?
title. Yeah, for that movie. And that was my first show. I was 17 years old when I worked on Leviathan.
Wow, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, that was
now I'm all jealous.
87, I think.
Huh.
Yeah, somewhere in there. But so I, Stan was a very influential person in my career and in my life as well. I knew the guy very well, and it was sad, to what happened. And
yeah, absolutely. But look at what he's left behind.
Oh God,
for generations and generations to enjoy.
Absolutely.
So I'm sorry, I cut off your story as far as you saw James Cameron.
Oh, no, it was cool to see Jim there, and Arnold Schwarzenegger and Steven, and I mean, Sigourney Weaver was there. And
Arnold.
It was incredible I remember coming home and telling my girlfriend, God, like she's like, are you okay? And it's like, yeah, I'm not only taken by the whole thing that he had passed, which is obviously very sad, but just the fact that, I was included, that I was invited to go, and I was included in that, incredible group of people that were, celebrating his life and that kind of thing. And, it's just, again, it's that full circle thing, to be a part of that studio at a time when it was, very exciting to work in there, and it's in its infancy, so to speak. And, it was cool to just be part of that. And, I just couldn't help thinking, driving home going, God, look at what that guy's left behind. Look at the legacy. And it's like, you're kind of kicking yourself in the ass going, come on, kid, get moving.
Right.
So, let's hope that Hunter Prey is the first, the first step into,
second or third step.
Yeah, well, we'll see. As long as there's steps in the future, I'm good.
Right, exactly.
You know what I mean? So,
I'm sure.
And I'll go ahead and put a link to your podcast on my website and in my blog, and just point some people there, and hopefully get some people excited to go see the film.
Okay, that would be great.
And if Fanboy Will is his name?
Well, his name's William McKenzie, correct? Okay.
Well, if I'll tell you what, if he wants to do an interview, or you guys want to tag team it or whatever, let's do another one when the film comes out.
We'd love to do that.
The film is getting ready to release.
We'd love to do that.
Let's do kind of a after the fans have seen a trailer or seen some footage or whatever. Let's talk again in 3 or 4 months and see where we're at.
Okay, that sounds great. I'm sure he'll have bigger and better questions for you as far as Dead End, and he's the big fanboy. I mean, I'm a fanboy. He's the giant fanboy. So as far as Dead End and World's Finest.
Anytime. You have my email address. Just let me know, and we'll get it done.
Okay, sir. I appreciate it very much.
I appreciate it.
Thanks for taking your time. Take care.